come in and check on us. He'll be soon.
Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine, Skeeter, G3, Hurricane, Godfrey Aqua Patio, on and on and on. The top brands of boats are all available at Madisonville Marine on Highway 411 North in Madisonville. You can check out deck boats, pontoon boats, fishing boats, all on one lot, all in one building. Madisonville Marine, there is no better place to buy a boat. All right, I want to talk about some of the things that have hurt Tennessee, and I'm just calling them the 4 factors. We'll get these guys to weigh in, and I'm going to run through these quickly. Just things that I think that sometimes get lost in the, well, we're losing games. Well, there's that. That's one reason you've been hurt, but also some other things have played a role. First of all, okay, they aren't winning, so let's roll that into the cool factor. At a time when cool factor means more than ever, when we're talking about the social media and all the coverage you get, you know, there was a time when you could sign with Poughkeepsie and people would go, oh, they got a scholarship, that's great. Right. Now you sign with Poughkeepsie, people are like, well, he sucks. You know, you're gonna have to hear that from other athletes, from media guys. So it's never been more important to be cool, and Tennessee isn't cool right now, so that's working against you. Tennessee used to be a school that was on TV nearly every week, and you're saying, well, they still are. Yes, but everyone else is too.
All right.
Tennessee, and JJ, before the show, we talked about the fact that in '85 you were able to watch all those games.
TBS games.
TBS
games, the last 3 or 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
And now, prime time.
Where's
prime time?
Yeah, now everybody is on television. So where you used to be a national brand that had an advantage on all these other schools, now you've got UCF. You want to go to Minnesota, you want to go to Memphis, you want to go to USF, you can be on TV. They're all there. So that's one thing. Also, UT used to have the biggest and best facilities. Now, they got great facilities still, but for years, Neyland Stadium was second only to Michigan in terms of size. Now, Ohio State and Penn State are bigger. In the SEC, LSU and Texas A&M are just as big. Bama is over 100,000. Georgia seats 93, Florida 90, Auburn 87. So whereas Tennessee used to be the biggest thing in the South, there are now 7 SEC schools, half the league, that's 87,000 seats or more. So the idea of coming in, Will, you talked about playing in this huge stadium. Well, you can do that at half the SEC stadiums now. Right. And then finally, scholarship limits, I think, have finally kicked in and took hold. And that goes hand in hand with everybody being on TV. Both those work together. But kids no longer need to ride the bench at UT or Nebraska or even Alabama when they can go be on national TV. Mom and Daddy can watch them play at Liberty. You know, Coastal Carolina's on television. Yeah. Right. So those 4 things, I think, have worked against Tennessee. That's no fault of their own. Well, the loss of the cool factor. But the fact that cool factor means more and social media means more. Do you agree? Do you disagree that those 4 factors, are there anything else that you would put in there? Is there anything else you would put in there?
First of all, those factors are key to these young athletes nowadays. But again, I'm a guy who loves the power T. The blessing I think is going to happen with Tennessee now, we're going to get the cool factor back. We're going to get that. But, it got to win games. And I'm excited with Coach Heupel and his offense, and Coach Martinez and the defense is going to put together. It's going to be a lot better than people think. But, those factors that are out there, that are glaring that you put out there, they play a big effect on being able to get those athletes that we call dogs that you want to go to war with to give you a better chance to win on Saturdays.
I think there's also something to the cool factor, and it's impacted by social media in the sense of you're being recruited not just by coaches, but by, and not just the, Ole Miss was the pressure for me because there are a bunch of Ole Miss fans around me, right? But now, on the internet, right, there's Tennessee fans, there's Ohio State fans, and they're going to find out about you, and they're going to start messaging you, they're going to start communicating with you. And also with that, it took you a couple of years on campus of getting your face on a billboard and making plays before you were a star. Mm-hmm. Now guys roll in to the recruiting day, and they're a star with the same amount of exposure and all those kinds of things that you had to earn in college, being on TV and stuff. And so I think that cool factor is even more important because you have guys that are becoming more celebrity-like earlier in their process.
I don't want to take, JJ, I don't want to take all the blame away from Tennessee because let's face it, whether it is people in the administration, you've had some real misses. Mm-hmm. Athletic directors, you've had some real misses. Coaches, you've had some real misses. This last one left you lower than you've ever been. Where does that rank? I mean, we're looking at these external things that have impacted the program. And somebody's going to be watching that and saying, well, you're just making excuses. No, those are all legit. I think every one of those is legit. Where do you rank your own missteps in terms of hiring people?
Well, I think all the coaching changes and whatnot that we've had, the bad picks, the bad jobs that they've done, not developing players and things like that. But I think if you're looking and you're talking to high school athletes and the guys that want to come here and they want to be a star, not only here at Tennessee, but they want their families and their friends to see them back where they came from. And I think just the fact that, if you could always count on Tennessee and Alabama being a primetime game, or Florida just being the first game of the year and usually one of the top games, and I mean anywhere from Pittsburgh, from anywhere, everybody watched it, it's just not a big deal right now. And so it's not cool. So if you're recruiting somebody from a different state or something like that, it's not, am I going to leave Pennsylvania? Well, nobody's going to see me here either. My friends, I was a star athlete. We were all star athletes wherever we were. We want to be seen by our families and friends. And so the games aren't on, So I think that's a huge, again, part of the cool factor.
Yeah.
But I think it's a huge deal.
Yeah, and that's, I'm talking about they're all on to where everybody's on, but they're not on the prime slots.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you say, that 98 Tennessee-Florida game, prime time, CBS, 8 o'clock at night, that you don't see that.
See
Tennessee.
TV,
Yeah.
brother. That was
Everybody's
must-see
watching.
Yeah, everybody's watching.
Every restaurant,
Planet.
every bar's
The
got
If you're a
planet.
football fan, you're watching.
The
It's not, you
planet.
want to be Tennessee, Florida, or SEC fan.
Yeah.
You were watching that game. no matter
Yeah.
what.
Well, that's now Alabama LSU. It used to be Tennessee, Florida. Now it has become the night game every year on CBS is Alabama LSU. So that has become the number one game in the Southeastern Conference that everyone wants to see, and that used to be you, and it's not anymore. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting to run through. Some of those things don't get talked about enough, especially that facility thing is a big deal because when I was growing up, and again we're kind of the same age here. Everybody was proud of that
Yeah,
fact
boy.
that Michigan's a little bigger than us, but by gosh, Tennessee's bigger than everybody else down in the South. Now half your league is pretty much as big as you. That's the difference. All right, when we come back, Tennessee's taking a bit of a money ball approach with the new coach they've hired in Josh Heupel. They found a guy who has a gimmick, for lack of a better word. Do we like that approach? We'll discuss that. Come on back on the Sports Source.